talk a little bit about risk rewards in decision making, and let's start with the rewards. Thus far, in the alternative therapies, i.e., the foods, the meditation, essential oil, other practices, I haven't really found much negativity, if any. Maybe you get a little indigestion if you eat too much good food. But some of the rewards, there's an author I love. His name is Thomas More. He's a philosopher, he's a priest. He wrote a book called Care of the Soul, and then he wrote a book called The Reenchantment of Everyday Life. And in that book, there's a chapter on foods, and he said, food is not a mixture of chemicals designed to keep the organism alive. If that were true, we would eat tasteless wafers, having the exact balance of fats, fibers, starches, and carbohydrates that our bodies require. Food is not just for the body. Food also feeds the soul. Why else go to Indian, Italian, Thai, Chinese, Ethiopian, or French restaurants unless the soul craves the culture that's provided by the food? So I love again to look at all the cultural underpinnings with foods, our holiday traditions, our ceremonies, our religious practices. They're all involved, most of them involve food. So, but let's look at the counter side. So some of the rewards culturally, let's look at the counter in terms of other practices. In medicine, chemotherapy, for example, we know its toxicity. We know the harm that it can do. Um, and we also know in terms of various pills, for example, there's a aromatase inhibitor to further remove any hormones, in my case from my body, and the aromatase inhibitor makes your bones and muscles ache. When I looked up the research on that, aromatase inhibitors are known to be associated with low bone density and high fracture risk in women. And so clearly the research says there's a paucity of data, and future research is needed to look at the longer term effects on bone health in older women. So maybe it gives you a few more months of life, but the question that I ask the doctors is the quality of life there for the few months of extra time that you might receive. I want to tell you a funny story about chemotherapy, and I'm going to put this in the rewards category for me. I'm in an older home, and in California they don't bury the sewer lines very deep. They don't need to, so they're just sort of right under the surface of the air, of the soil, and so you have to be careful in the sunshine if there's a lot of toilet paper, um, and you haven't flushed it out with bathing or laundry or a lot of water. In my case, my sewer lines can get clogged at my home, and so over the years, so that I don't have to keep calling Roto-Rooter or some service, they've put clean out valves outside. Well, when I was having my chemotherapy in these large metal concrete buildings up on the fifth or sixth floor, the bathrooms on those floors would always say, please flush twice because of the chemotherapy. Um, I noticed during the few months that I was having chemotherapy, when I checked my clean out valve at home, I never had any sewer or septic problems. So I'll have to say that was a reward in terms of the chemotherapy. I not only cleaned my property, I probably cleaned all the neighbors around me on down the street. Maybe it had an impact on the city plant, I don't know, but it was kind of funny that the chemotherapy certainly helped me at home in terms of its potency in my own sewer system.